Hello and welcome to CINCILINGUA live class. We'll be talking about prepositions for this live class. If you have any questions as the lesson goes on, you can move your mouse around until you see the icon that says chat. Excuse me. When you click on the icon, it will open to a white rectangle. And at the bottom of the white rectangle is a place for you to type your question. When you hit enter, I'll be able to read your question, and I will be answering questions at the end of today's live class. So today, instead of doing a lot of different prepositions, I have many different phrases that all use the preposition of. And there are a lot of them. I hope that you find everything easy to understand. If somehow this is too much for you in one live class, we do record these live classes, and so it would be fine for you to go and find the recording of this live class and listen to it a second time. Anyway, let me read to you the different phrases that we have that are using the preposition of. Capable of, afraid of, or frightened of. Now you can be frightened by something, but you can't be afraid by something. So frightened of or afraid of, proud of, fond of, ashamed of, full of, stupid of me, guilty of, aware of, sure of, jealous of, made of, tired of, approve of, grasp of, and hatred of. Let's get started with some examples to make these easier for you to understand. Capable of. Capable of means having the ability, power, or qualities to be able to do something. Georgia is a smart little girl. She is capable of doing a complicated puzzle. And honestly, I work a lot with young children, and I am impressed that someone as young as little Georgia in this picture can do such a complicated puzzle. Many children that are young of that age are not able to do a puzzle that has so many pieces, but she is capable of doing the puzzle. She's able to do it. She is capable of. Okay, our next is afraid of or frightened of. It's feeling fear or worry about something. I have always been afraid of spiders, or we could say, I have always been frightened of spiders. Afraid of or frightened of, either one works here. We could say, I was frightened by the spider, but we cannot say afraid by. That's not correct. The spider can frighten you. Frighten can be a verb. So the spider can do the action of frightening you. Afraid is just describing your feeling. Afraid is not a verb. The spider cannot afraid you. That's not correct English. So I have always been afraid of spiders. I have always been frightened of spiders, or I was frightened by the spider. All three of those are correct. And actually, I'm not too afraid of spiders. I don't know about you. I don't always like them, but I'm personally not very frightened of spiders. Proud of. To feel respect or pleasure in an accomplishment, or if you are proud of yourself, to feel self-respect or pleasure in an accomplishment. Emma is proud of herself for graduating from college. Her parents are proud of her too. So she is proud of herself, and her parents are proud of her. To feel proud of means to feel happy about something that you have accomplished. Sorry, I'm afraid I'm going to sneeze. Fond of. Being fond of something means having a liking for or a love of someone or something. Terry has always been fond of flowers. She loves having a flower garden at her cottage. She loves flowers. So you can be fond of something. You can be fond of someone. Ashamed of. Feeling guilty or embarrassed about something that you have done or about a quality of your character. He was ashamed of himself for losing his job. He did not want to go home to tell his wife. So he did not just lose his job because the economy was bad. Apparently he did something. He made some kind of a mistake that caused him to lose his job, and now he feels ashamed of himself for losing his job, or he feels ashamed of having lost his job. That's kind of a complicated grammar there. Ashamed of having lost his job. You could say ashamed of losing his job, but that's not exactly. I think I would say he was ashamed of himself for losing his job is better. And so I feel bad. Here he is. He's just not wanting to show his face. He's feeling embarrassed. He's feeling guilty that he did something that was wrong, and he's ashamed of himself. You can be ashamed of yourself. You can also be ashamed of someone else. But ashamed, a lot of times, is something that you feel about yourself and not as often about someone else. As a matter of fact, sometimes parents or teachers, when they are talking to children that have done something wrong, they might say, you should feel ashamed of yourself. You should feel bad about what you did. And I'm not sure if that's the wisest kind of parenting, but that's something that some parents will say to their children. Okay, full of, to be filled with, or could also mean to feel or express a lot of a particular emotion. So the most normal way to use full of is like this. The glass is full of tea. You can see that the tea goes almost all the way to the top of the glass. The glass is full of tea. And now we're going to use another example where it's a little bit more conceptual. It says, Amina's friends describe her as being full of joy and full of life. So you can kind of see on her face that she is very happy and joyful. She is full of joy. And somebody that is always moving and having energy and having excitement, we say that that person is full of life. Full of life, not somebody that just sits and watches TV and doesn't really move around very much and doesn't have very much emotion. Someone that is a lot of big emotions and a lot of movement and a lot of energy. That person is full of life, full of life. And you can see she's also full of joy. To be full of one's self, to have an exaggerated sense of self-worth. When something is exaggerated, you're talking about it like it is bigger than it really is. So if you have an exaggerated sense of self-worth, you think that you are worth a lot more than you even are. So in this example, it says, Tim is a great athlete, but he's not a good sport. He tells everyone how great he is. He is full of himself. Now, what does that mean that he's a great athlete but not a good sport? If you are a great athlete, that means you can see in the picture, he has strong muscles. He probably can move his body very well to make his body do what he wants it to do. So he is successful and wins when he's playing sports. So he is a great athlete. But if you are a good sport, being a good sport means having a good attitude. If you win, you say good job to the other person, even though they didn't win. You don't say, like children might say, ha ha, I won and you lost. That's not kind. That's not being a good sport. To be a good sport is to say, wow, you played very well too. Good game, good try. And not to talk about, oh, I'm the best in the whole world and no one can beat me. If you talk like that, you are full of yourself and you are talking too much about how great and wonderful you are. You are full of yourself. And someone who is a good sport is someone who, yes, they know that they did a good job and they feel proud of themselves for doing a good job, but they also try to make the person that lost or the team that lost feel like they have some respect also. And like I said, they would say to them, good game or good job, good try, and not just laugh at the other person or brag and say how wonderful they are. So this guy is full of himself. Okay, stupid of me. Oh, that was stupid of me. To express something that you have done which makes you feel foolish or silly. I can't believe I locked my keys in the car. That was stupid of me to do that. It was stupid of me. And I suppose you could say to someone else that was stupid of you, or that was stupid of him, or stupid of her. Maybe you could say that, but most often if we use this phrase, stupid of, we would say stupid of me. Oh, wow, that was just, I can't believe that I did that thing. That was really stupid of me. So knowing that you made a choice that was not a good choice, you weren't really thinking very well when you did that. Locked the keys in the car. Guilty of. Guilty of. If you are guilty of, then you are feeling guilt because you are responsible for doing something wrong, or you're responsible for breaking the law. The jury found him guilty of committing the crime. So a jury is a group of people in court. When you have broken the law, sometimes you go and you talk only to the judge, and the judge will decide by himself or by herself if you are guilty or not guilty. Other times there will be a jury. A jury is usually a group of 12 people, and the 12 people listen to what you have to say. They listen to what the other side of people have to say. They have instructions from the judge, and then they go into another room and they talk to one another, and they have to make the decision, do we believe this person is guilty or not guilty? So the jury, the 12 people that listened about all of the facts about the case, they believed that the person who was accused of breaking the law did something wrong, and they found him guilty of committing that crime. Aware of. If you are aware of, it means that you're knowing that something exists, or you have a knowledge or experience of a particular thing. And here it says, I thought I was being so quiet, but the dog was aware of my presence. He kept looking over at me. So if you can see here, this dog, whoops, go back. And this dog's eyes are kind of looking sideways at the person. And me, I'm in front of the camera right now. So perhaps I thought I was going to sneak up on someone, and don't know, maybe the dog could smell that I was coming. Dogs' ears work better than people's ears. Maybe the dog heard me coming. Maybe the dog smelled me coming. I don't know, but the dog keeps looking over at me, and I can tell from the dog's eyes, the dog is aware of me. The dog knows that I'm there. Okay, to be sure of. To be sure of is to be certain about something. He may be young, but he is very intelligent. We are sure of his ability to repair the complicated equipment. I would not know how to fix this piece of equipment. I'm not even positive what this piece of equipment is. To me, it looks like the inside of some kind of a computer. I wouldn't be able to repair it, but this young person is intelligent, and we are sure of his ability to repair this complicated equipment. To be jealous of. To be jealous of someone or something is to feel resentment against someone because of that person's rivalry, success, or advantages. Let's talk a little bit about what those words mean. Rivalry, rivalry. If you have someone who is your enemy, or maybe you are on a sports team and there is another sports team that is the most important team that you want to beat. Those are your rivals, your rivals. You always want your team to be the winners, but at least in the United States, it seems every high school, every college, even the professional sports teams, there is always one particular team that all of the fans are really hoping we really need to beat this other team. For Ohio, it is Michigan. I don't know why, because Ohio has a border, a little bit of a border with Michigan, but we also have a border with Indiana. We have a border with Kentucky. We have a border with West Virginia and Pennsylvania. And of all of those states, I'm not sure why, but Michigan is our big rivals. Now, I used to go to camp every summer in Michigan. So personally, I love the state of Michigan and I love to visit there. But when it is time for sports, if Ohio is playing against Michigan, we have to always hope that Ohio wins because Michigan is our rivals. So if you are jealous of someone, and maybe if Michigan beat Ohio, I would feel jealous and I would feel resentment against them because I wish that we could win just like they won because they're my rivals. You can be jealous of someone's success. Sometimes if a brother or a sister is doing very well at school and the younger brother or sister feels that they aren't doing as well, they might feel like, oh man, I'm jealous of my brother or my sister. I wish I could be successful like that person, like my brother or like my sister. You can be jealous of someone's advantages. Someone can watch television and maybe see someone that is famous, a movie star, a celebrity, maybe someone who is a famous singer, and you see their beautiful house and their very nice car and all of these advantages that they have. They're traveling all over the world and you think, oh, I wish I could do that. I am jealous of the advantages that that person has. So here in this example, it says he was always texting other women when they were together. She was jealous of the other women in his life. So she did not feel like she was important to him because he was always on the phone whenever they were together and was always talking to other women. And so that made her feel unimportant. And so she was jealous of those other women. In my opinion, she shouldn't be jealous of those other women because this seems like the kind of man that she shouldn't try to spend a lot of time with. If there is a man that is important to you and you are not also important to him and he does not treat you like you are important, maybe you should walk away and let him be with those other women and let him treat them badly. And you don't have to be jealous because he is talking to other women, because if that's the kind of person he is not a good person to spend time with, I don't think. But you can see on her face, she looks hurt. She looks upset. She's feeling jealous of the other women that he is texting with. Made of, to be created from or manufactured with. Robin's family had always wanted to live in a house made of logs. So these big pieces of wood, when you cut a tree down, and you don't take the outside, this is the bark, the outside of the tree. If you don't take the bark off the tree and you don't cut the wood to make it straight, if you just leave it in the shape that it was when it was growing as a tree, we call that kind of wood a log. A log. Logs are round, the shape that the tree was when it was growing. And most of the time, logs still have the bark, that's the outside part of the tree, the bark on the tree. Even if you were to shave the bark and cut the bark away from the tree, if it was round, it would still be called a log. So this house is made of logs. Most homes, if they are made of wood, they are made of wood that has been cut and is a long, smooth, straight plank that is the shape of a rectangle. It's not round like a log. So log homes used to be very popular because back a long time ago, when people were first starting to settle in the United States, if they were not Native Americans, the Native Americans had different ways of making homes. But when the Europeans first started to come to the United States, the fastest way to make a home was either to make it from the ground, from the soil, and make a sod house, or to cut down the trees and make a log house. They did not have fancy machinery to saw the logs into straight, long planks to make a house. They would just make the logs because that was the fastest and the easiest thing to do. And so now log homes are not as common because we do have fancy machines that can cut the logs into planks or pieces of wood. But this house is a house made of logs, and we would call it a log house or a log cabin. Tired of. If you are tired of something, you dislike it, often because of repeated use or exposure. I have been on a diet for a long time. I am so tired of eating salad. And many people, when they go on a diet and they try to lose weight, one thing that they decide to eat a lot of is salad. And if you have salad every lunch, and if you have salad every dinner, and I'm not sure what you would have for breakfast, but not usually salad. We have salad 7 days a week for lunch and salad 7 days a week for dinner. That's so much salad. You would be tired of salad, tired of eating salad. You dislike it. You don't feel like eating it. It's not enjoyable. You don't look forward to it because you have repeatedly had the same thing over and over again. Tired of it. If a baby has been crying a long time, I am tired of hearing the baby cry. Or maybe one of your friends tells jokes that are just not funny. Oh, I am so tired of those terrible jokes. Sometimes those jokes, though, turn out to be funny just because they're so silly and they are such crazy jokes that you kind of almost laugh because they're so silly. So our family likes to tell jokes And sometimes we like to tell bad jokes that just make you want to roll your eyes and say, oh no, that's not very funny. But it's almost funny because it's such a bad joke. All right, to approve of. If you approve of something, you have a positive opinion about someone or something. A positive opinion about it. I was not sure that my parents or my boss would approve of my nose ring, but they seem to think it's fine. So this person, and it's kind of hard to tell. Can you see here in this person's nose, just like some people get their ears pierced. I have earrings on. I have pierced ears. Just like some people pierce their ears, other people will pierce their nose and have a nose ring. And so this young woman was saying she wasn't sure if her parents would approve of the nose ring or if her boss would approve of the nose ring. But thankfully, the boss and the parents both feel that the nose ring is fine. They both the parents and the boss approve of the nose ring. To have a grasp of something or a grasp on something is to have a good understanding of something or to gain a good understanding of something. If you already have a good understanding, or maybe you didn't used to have a good understanding and now you have gained a good understanding, then we say that you have a grasp of it or a grasp on it. And the word grasp can be a verb. Here, it can be a verb. It's talking about when you wrap your fingers around something and you hold onto it tightly. That's a grasp. Grasp. When a baby is very little and you put your finger out close to the baby's hand, the baby can wrap its fingers around, wrap its hand around your finger that you're sticking out and hold on tight to your finger. The baby is grasping your finger and holding it. And so this grasping something, when you have an understanding of something, it is like your brain is able to reach out and your brain is holding on to something and understand it so well that it's holding on tight and not letting it go. So here is the example. It says, he has only lived in France for a short time, but he already has a good grasp of French. And he learned French quickly, even though he was only in France for a short time. And his understanding of French is a good understanding. And he doesn't forget things easily because he has a good grasp of it or a good grasp on it. If you are holding tightly to something and you don't let go, it is like your brain holding on tightly to everything you know about French and not letting it go. It's holding on tight. You have a good grasp of it. You have a good understanding of it. A hatred of. To have a hatred of something is to have a strong dislike of someone or something. And the example here says, the young boy is often sick and needs to eat healthy food. His parents are not sure what to do about his hatred of vegetables. So this young boy should eat some kind of vegetables to keep him healthy. It's important to get the vitamins that come from vegetables. He doesn't want any kind of vegetables. He has a strong hatred of vegetables and doesn't want to eat any of them. And so his parents are not sure how to keep him healthy. Perhaps he likes some kinds of fruit, and hopefully some of those fruits will help him to be healthy. But I think it's good if you can eat a balanced diet. A little bit of this and a little bit of this, a little bit of each thing, to have a well-balanced diet and not have a hatred of things that are good for you. Let's look at a quick review here of these phrases that use the preposition of. You can be capable of something if it means you are able to do that thing. You can be afraid of or frightened of something. If you are proud of yourself or proud of someone else, then you are so excited and happy that they did something that was they did such a good job. If you are fond of something or fond of someone, it means that you really like or you love that thing or that person. If you're ashamed of doing something, ashamed of yourself for doing something that was wrong, making a big mistake or breaking the law, you feel ashamed of that. You can be full of a big emotion, full of anger. We had good ones. We had full of joy and full of life, but you could be full of anger or full of sadness, or we just could have just the normal meaning of full of, just like we had the example of the glass being full of tea. So something is full. If you say, that was stupid of me, you did something that makes you feel silly or foolish and you're feeling a little bit embarrassed by that. Oh, that was stupid of me. I should not have done that. If you are guilty of doing something, that means that you are the person that was responsible for doing that thing. If you are aware of something, then you have a knowledge of that thing. You know that thing exists. I'm aware of someone looking at me. Oh no. Yeah. If you're aware of, you have a knowledge of something. Sure of, you are certain about that. You're sure of it. If you are jealous of someone or jealous of something that someone has, feeling resentful or envious about something that somebody has or does. If something is made of something, then that's what it is manufactured from. If you're tired of something, whatever that thing, or maybe you could even be tired of a person. If you've been around that person or that thing often, over and over again, and now you just dislike it because you have seen it too often and been around it too often. Approve of, if you have a good opinion about whatever it is that you approve of. A grasp of is a good understanding, a good knowledge of something, and then hatred of, a strong dislike for something. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for this live class about prepositions, and I hope that you'll be able to come and be part of the next live class with CINCILINGUA. Thanks again for coming.